inaugural session of this international conference soon. May I now request our Vice Chancellor, Professor Vinay Kumar Saren, Chinese Consul General in Kolkata, Mr. Xu Wei, Professor Monoranjan Pradhan, Principal Bhasha Bhavan, and Professor Ramal Pal to please come to the dais. Director, Rabindranath Tagore. We start our program with the opening song by the students of Chenma. you. May I now request our students to greet the guests in the traditional way. Request the guests to come forward and light the lamp and inaugurate the conference. Respected Vice Chancellor, Visva-Bharati, Professor Saren, respected Consul General of People's Republic of China in Kolkata, Mr. Xu Wei, Professor Manoranjan Pradhan, Principal, School of Languages, Literature, Bhasha Bhavan, the renowned scholars from China. We have a lot of scholars from various parts of, Tagore experts from various parts of China, and this is the first time after the COVID that such a huge number of scholars coming to India for attending a conference. academicians of Visva-Bharati, staff and students of Visva-Bharati, members of the print and electronic media, ladies and gentlemen. On this occasion, I extend to you all a very warm welcome on behalf of Cheena Visva-Bharati to this international conference on Tagore's philosophy of education, celebrating the centenary of Tagore's visit to China. Tagore's philosophy of education, rooted in the principles of creativity, freedom, and humanism, continues to resonate with contemporary educational discourse. In today's rapidly changing world, where traditional educational paradigms are being challenged and redefined, Tagore's insights offer valuable perspective for reimagining education in a manner that fosters holistic development and meaningful engagement with the world. Tagore's 1924 visit to China was a historic event, with Rabindranath engaged in an intensive civilizational dialogue with thousands of Chinese men of letters. Tagore's educational philosophy emphasizes fostering a love for humanity and advancing universal brotherhood through recognizing the interconnectedness of all beings and promoting empathy across cultures. Under this circumstance, this conference schedule brushes upon a spectrum of exciting and benefiting topics like Tagore's ideas on rural education, idea of Tapoban, festivals of Santiniketan, Chinese scholars' views on Tagore, education through poetry, role of yoga and sports in Tagore's educational ideas, etc. Before the commencement of this conference, I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude to all of you who sincerely committed to this event to make it a success. This event would have been impossible with the support of each and everyone present here. I also want to mention the full support of the Ministry of External Affairs, the Joint Secretary East Asia Division, Mr. Gaurang Das, who yesterday night also wished this conference success. I just want to mention the name of Indian Embassy Beijing and Indian Consulate in Guangzhou, without whose support this conference would have been not possible. The conference is a wonderful opportunity not only to educate students and young researchers, but allow us to learn many new things as well as share experience. On the occasion of Tagore's 100 years of visit to China, we may well reflect on his philosophy advocating for an education that transcends mere impartition of knowledge, rather instills a profound harmony with all existence. I wish you every success in your deliberations and a very pleasant stay in Santiniketan. Thank you. I want to ask our Chinese friends to please stand up so that the others can see. We have Professor Tung Chen, Tung Lao Shi,请你站起来，所以大家Tung Lao Shi, Professor Tung, more than 85 years of age, and at this age is coming. So he is the we can say the #1 expert of Tagore on China. So we are very fortunate to have this. We have also Wang Qinggang. We have also Zhu Chuan from Shenzhen University, Wang Qinggang from Beijing. We have Tan Yu Mei, Li Jinyun, He Xiaoxuan. So a lot of scholars. Also we have our Indian scholars. Thank you. May I now request Professor Manoranjan Pradhan to speak few words. Professor Vinay Kumar Soren, Vice Chancellor Visva-Bharati, to please speak on this occasion.
Good morning, everyone. With me, respected His Excellency Consul General of China in Kolkata, Mr. Xu Wei, Principal Bhashaon, Professor Manil Pradhan, Director Rabindranath, Professor Amal Pal, Head of the Department Chinese, Professor Abhijit Banerjee, distinguished scholars from China and India, academicians of Visva-Bharati, members of Visva-Bharati community, representatives of the Consulate Office of the People's Republic of China in Kolkata, my dear students, representatives from the media, and ladies and gentlemen. At first, let me welcome you all at Visva-Bharati, Santiniketan. It's my proud and privilege as well as honor to be present here in the inauguration program of the International Conference on Rabindranath Tagore's Philosophy of Education, celebrating the centenary of Tagore's visit to China. Rabindranath Tagore was a forerunner in envisioning a globalized world community and was a pioneer for successfully founding Visva-Bharati in 1921, a university that is truly international in its philosophy, goals and curricula. Tagore dreamed of an institution where differences of religion, caste, race and class would be smoothed through people from all backgrounds coming to study together. It would be a cultural learning center promoting cooperation and coordination between the East and the West while engaging in collaborative research. Its motto, we know, Yatra Visva-Bharati Ek Nira, means where the world meets in one nest. It embodies Rabindranath's ideal of social inclusion, universal understanding and acceptance. He wanted this university to be not only in touch with its surroundings, but a continuation of it, practicing agriculture, gardening, weaving, and dairy keeping, with students and teachers working with learning from ordinary people in neighboring villages in an atmosphere of mutual appreciation, learning and exchange. It would be a place which offered hospitality to guests and cultures, stretching to neighboring villages and towns across India and the globe, continuing the Indian tradition of hospitality and accommodation in an atmosphere of mutual understanding, respect and share. Rabindranath Tagore described his institution as a place of pilgrimage in the new age, where there will be a conference, a meeting of truths. Today, Santiniketan, the school and the university, and Santiniketan even a place of cultural pilgrimage in India, visited by many Indians and foreigners. Rabindranath Tagore believed in mutually beneficial interactive relationship between the two great civilizations of India and China. After his visit to China in 1924, Tagore, with the help of Chinese scholar Tan Yuan-san, built Cheena in 1937. Tagore was the architect in rebuilding the relationship between India and China, which was lying dormant during the colonial period. Rabindranath Tagore dreamed of Cheena not only as a seat of learning, but also as a center of cultural amalgamation. I am sure that this conference commemorating the centenary of Rabindranath Tagore's visit to China will further promote Tagore's ideas of holistic education. Once again, I do heartily welcome all of you And finally, I wish the conference a great success. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your encouraging words. May I now request Professor Manoranjan Pradhan to say a few words on this occasion. Principal Bhavana. Manoranjan Pradhan, Shubhamer, you are done.
Respected Vice Chancellor, Sir, Professor Binoy, Consul General of China in Kolkata, Mr. Hui, Professor Amal Pal, Director of Rabindranath Bhavan, and Head Department of Chinese, Professor Visva-Bharati. Distinguished scholars from India, from China, members of Visva-Bharati community, scholars and scholars of China, representative of Consulate Office of the People's Republic of China in Kolkata, my dear students, ladies and gentlemen. It is my great pleasure and honor to welcome all of you in the inauguration of this international conference on Rabindranath Tagore's philosophy of education, celebrating the centenary of Tagore's visit to China. Your presence here today is greatly appreciated. Rabindranath Tagore was one of the most progressive educators of his time. He envisioned a holistic education that was deeply rooted in one's culture and surroundings, but also connected to the wider world. Tagore was a pioneer in education for intercultural understanding and peace, for respect and intimacy with nature, for rural reconstruction and social engagement, and for artistic abilities and creativity. There are four fundamental principles in Tagore's educational philosophy. One, naturalism, humanism, internationalism, and idealism. Santiniketan and Visva-Bharati are both based on these very principles. The initiated that education should be imparted in natural surroundings. He believed in giving children the freedom of expression. In Tagore's view, the focal aim of education was to achieve fulfillment and completeness, the self-realization of the individual in harmony with nature and the social world. Tagore called it Atma Shakti, or strengthening of the soul. Central to Tagore's philosophy of education is the concept of Santiniketan, or the abode of peace, and later Santiniketan, which he established as an experimental educational institution in rural Bengal. Santiniketan epitomized Tagore's holistic educational philosophy, integrating intellectual, artistic, and spiritual facets of human life. Education transcended traditional confines, embracing nature, arts, and community involvement. Rabindranath Tagore's philosophy of education provides a compelling framework for managing education in the 21st century. His emphasis on creativity, freedom, holistic development and social engagement offers valuable insights for addressing the multifaceted challenges of today's world. I am sure that this conference commemorating the Centenary of Rabindranath Tagore's visit to China will further push forward together's ideas of cultivating well-rounded individuals capable of selfless service and social integration, ultimately contributing to a conscientiousness and harmonious society. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. 现在请中国驻加尔各答总领事徐伟先生发言。Chinese Consulate in Kolkata, Mr. Xu Wei.
Hello? Yes, hello? Respected Vice Chancellor, Binoy Kumar Sorin, Dear Abhijit Banerjee, 我们中国的朋友阿月达 Professor Dong Youcheng, distinguished professors and scholars, students, friends, good morning and namaskar. First, I would like to extend a warm welcome to the Chinese professors and scholars who traveled a long way to get here and join us at today's event. This is a major China-India people-to-people exchanges held in Cheena, Bhavana since 2020 after COVID-19. I think the COVID-19 which hindered these face-to-face interactions. We all know that is not easy. And here I, on behalf of the Chinese Consul General, would like to sincerely thank Vice Chancellor Binoy Kumar Sorin and Professor Abhijit Banerjee for what you have done. Without your great efforts, this conference will not be possible. So let's give them a big round of applause. Dear friends, this year marks the 100th anniversary of Tagore's visit to China. And in October, we are celebrating Chinese National Day. And West Bengal is now celebrating its Grand Durga Puja. On this festive and auspicious occasion, I'm delighted to see experts and scholars from both China and India. We are so delighted to gather here to share insights on the studies of Tagore, the great Indian poet, philosopher, and educationalist, and a true friend of Chinese people, and above all, the visionary sage of the world. And I believe this event will enlighten us in today's turbulent world. Kolkata is a place with elite people and resourceful land. There are some other great minds from Bengal besides Tagore, like Swami Vivekananda, Sri Aurobindo, Amartya Sen, and so on. The list can go on. These people are the pride of Bengal and India and have made outstanding contributions to the enrichment of human nature, human culture, art, and thought. It is our rich resources to promote people-to-people exchanges between China and India. Yesterday afternoon, on the train to Santiniketan, I saw in the end of the coach a portrait of Tagore with the words saying, "We come nearest to the great when we are great in humility." The original intention of Tagore when he founded Visva-Bharati University in 1921 was building a place where the whole world can find nests. Tagore believed that this world can only be united in diversity, and India's civilization can shine in diversity. Today, it has become a center of world cultural exchange. And standing here, I feel so humbled and impressed by Tagore's richness in spiritual world, and bathing in this atmosphere of integration, mutual learning of different civilizations. Commissioned by Tagore in 1937, Mr. Tan Minshan founded the Chinese department here. Over the past 87 years, the Chinese department has left many stories about bright convergence of Chinese and Indian cultures. Tagore had deep feelings for the Chinese people and culture. He visited China 3 times and was an advocate and practitioner of China-India friendship and ideological and cultural exchanges in modern times. The Chinese people also deeply love Tagore and remember his 2 famous sentences during his visit to China. Now I would like to quote, "I don't know why coming to China is like going back to my own hometown, and my heart remains here." To me, this is the second time I come to Chinese department since I took office in June, and surely I will visit here more often. Every time when Tagore, comes to my mind, I just cannot help but to remember the above-mentioned 2 sentences and urge myself to cherish the time and do my best in promoting China-India friendship that Tagore and other sages has laid a solid foundation for. In view of the above, today's conference is very, very meaningful. Tagore is not only a poet, but also a great philosopher and educationalist. Tagore's educational thought is very rich, which is a combination of naturalism, humanism, and internationalism. For example, he believed that the children's minds are very sensitive to the influence of the great world in which they were born and raised. Education should be adapted to their disposition and should be combined with nature, so that nature and man's nature can be harmoniously united. Therefore, the path of education must be determined in accordance with the path of the mind, so that in the end, the full display of our power and full realization of the real person we could have been is the fruit of education. Like that pamphlet, I just noticed that printed here, the highest education is that which does not merely gives us information, but makes our life in harmony with all existence. Tagore believed that education should promote the national culture on one hand and promote the world cultural exchanges on the other hand, so that the 2 can harmoniously and united and develop together. Tagore's educational thought is full of vitality. Today, 100 years later, when human beings are about to enter the era of artificial intelligence, the philosopher and foresight of his educational thought are becoming more and more prominent, attracting people to draw nutrition from it, improve education, and cultivate creative talent to meet the requirements of the new era. Friends, as the two great neighbors, China and India, both of Asian civilizations and fastly developing economies, we should be inspired by Tagore's educational thoughts. There are 1,000 reasons for our people to learn from each other, respect each other, trust each other, and help each other succeed. All the participants are here today as senior, veteran professors and scholars in the educational sector, in Tagore studies, and I believe that with the joint efforts of Chinese and Indian experts and scholars, this conference will achieve fruitful results and help definitely to strengthen our bilateral ties between the people of China and India. Finally, I wish the conference a complete success. Thank you.
Thank Mr. Xu Wei, Consul General of China in Kolkata, for your encouraging words. May I now request Professor Amol Pal, Director Rabindranath Bhavana, to please come to here and speak the keynote address. Thank you.
Namaskar. Good morning, everybody. Respected Vice Chancellor, Visva-Bharati, Chinese Consul General, Kolkata, Professor Manoranjan Pradhan, Principal Visva-Bharati, and Professor Abhijit Banerjee, Head of the Department, Chinese Language, Literature and Culture. I feel privileged to be here as a part of this conference. I express my thanks to Cheena Bhavana for organizing this conference on Tagore's educational philosophy. We know there is a long tradition of friendship between India and China, and Tagore made this friendship more profound. So it is very important to discuss on educational philosophy in the Department of Chinese. We know, as a student, Rabindranath Tagore came into contact with several educational institutions in the country and abroad. Apart from home school, the institutions where he studied are Calcutta Training Academy, Northern School, Bengal Academy, School Section of St. Xavier's College, Presidency College for one day only, Brighton Public School, and London University College. So we can say he has come in contact with many students and teachers of various educational institutions. As a student, he did not complete full course or receive any degree or diploma, but he had gathered real experience about the education system of the school, the behavior of students and teachers, and the environment of the school. We think These experiences of his student life inspired him to think about education. In the book Jivan Sriti and Chelela and some other writings, he has described the experience of school life, and most of it is filled with bitterness. Tagore's educational ideas were first published in Bharati magazine in 1878 in the criticism of Michael Motsudan's Rabindranath Tagore. Tagore wrote there, "In Bengal, there is now such an outlandish system of education in which educated people are able to memorize some words of science and philosophy and the names of historical events and kings, but they cannot develop their taste or learn to think independently." We think this Tagore's first comment on his contemporary educational system is very important. It is a special thing to note that in his first comment on education, he mentioned the importance of independent thought, which will take a major part in his educational philosophy. Tagore was extremely dissatisfied with his contemporary education system. We are giving here some of his observations. Number one, this education has nothing to do with students' lives. A lot of distance remains with their thoughts, language, and subjects. Number two, this education introduced by the British is more inclined towards making clerks than making men. Number three, there is no scope to develop independent thought, power of imagination, and receptiveness in this education system. Number four, there is no place of joy in this education system. Number five, there is no close connection between life and education. Tagore wanted an education system where learning would be joyful and it would help the students for their all-round development. Not only that, he thought about complete humanity through education. Tagore's educational philosophy is not a separate thing. His ideals of education are a part and parcel of his philosophy of life. Tagore was essentially an individualist. He believed in the right and freedom to shape his life in his own way. His individualism was basically Indian in conception, and this fact gave a peculiar color to it. Nature occupies a very important place in Tagore's life and his philosophy. He believed nature, like man, is the manifestation of Brahma. Through its variegated forms, colors, and rhythms, Brahma reveals himself manifoldly. So it is necessary for human beings to come in close contact with nature, with its beautifying and vitalizing influences. Tagore believed in internationalism, but his idea of internationalism was primarily neither economic nor political, but spiritual. His internationalism was very close to the concept of human brotherhood. Thus, Tagore was at once an individualist and an internationalist. He believed in individual and group cultures, but did not admit that national frontiers could be imposed on them. Tagore's philosophy of education is in entire consonance with this philosophy of life. According to Tagore, the highest aim of education is the complete development of human faculties for the attainment of fullness of life. He said, quote, "Real education is not just academic knowledge, but full living," unquote. He also said, quote, "Education is the way to attain humanity," unquote. The terms education and life have become closely, almost inseparably associated in Tagore's educational philosophy and practice. Main principles of Tagore's educational philosophy are freedom, joy, fullness, vastness, active communion with nature, creative self-expression. He thought educational process should be living, dynamic and joyful and not lifeless and mechanical. He wrote about this, divorced from the stream of life and confined within the four walls of the schoolroom, education becomes artificial and loses its value to a great extent. So, he thought our first work is to bring the child mind in contact with nature. Through contact with the nature, the child's introduction to the great world of reality will be easy and joyful. Tagore believed in the education of the whole man. He gave much emphasis on handwork or work education, music, dance, and arts. Let us quote some relevant comments from Tagore. Number one, however, great scholar one may be, if he has not educated his body, he has to live a life of dependence on others. In many ways, he is an incomplete man. Number two, we should know that the great task of our educational efforts in our institution is to provide for the education of the mind and all the senses through various activities. When Tagore spoke on handwork, music, dance, and arts as vehicles of self-expression, he gave emphasis mainly on the creative and artistic aspect. Regarding freedom of action, the outstanding achievements are to be found in the literary meeting, Sahitya Sabha. Students and teachers organized Sahitya Sabha. Programs of songs and dances, sports and games, handwritten magazines. There were several handwritten magazines published by the students. Picnics, gardening, acting, excursions, etc. Functions and festivals had a great importance in the educational ideas of Tagore. To develop various senses of students, they were introduced sense training program. It was like a play. Students had to gauge the weight of a substance or the distance of an object or the number or amount of things. They had to decide number of varieties of assorted things at a hurried glance. They had to note down words in proper sequence after hearing them hurriedly for once. We know to implement his educational ideas, Tagore established Brahmacharya Vidyalaya in 1901 at Santiniketan. At that time, there were two models of school education in our country. One, Tol Chatuspathi Mokto Madrasa, and number two, English school introduced by the British. Tagore did not accept any one of two. He introduced a third model. It was based on the concept of old Bhavana. He got some devoted teachers with him, but he had to face many obstacles to run the institution. He had to compromise in some cases. That's why he was not fully satisfied. In 1924, he established another school, Shiksha, mainly for village students. Besides these two schools, he also planned another school. It was a peripatetic school, but the idea of the school was never implemented. He had thought about such a school for a long period. Tagore had a detailed discussions with Victoria Ocampo, Prashant Chandra Bhavana, Bonaful, and some other persons. A group of students with their teachers will be learning to travel by reserved compartment of a train or a steamer for a long period. He told Victoria Ocampo about his plan and about this peripatetic school. Tagore said, all education should be peripatetic, because the best of all education is to come to know our fellow beings intimately. Learning geography by travel also gives us an idea of the kinds of men and of language that differ from those in our own country. Look at this country of yours, Argentina, with its many varying kinds of climate, of dialect, of manners. What is better for boys than to travel, to record facts as they travel, to collect objects for their private museums, and thereby to teach themselves. Don't guide the boy and tell him what to collect. He will collect what his intellect tells him to collect, what he likes to collect. He must discover his own mind and find it out for himself by setting all the boys to follow the same course as we do today. It is a long time before his real character can emerge and be found out. If only instead of his formal classes, he could travel for 2 years and come to know men and things at first hand, the world of nature and of animals and the character of other human societies. But our systems of education have become altogether too mechanized, and there is now too much machinery in all the departments of our life. How about letting boys find out the facts for themselves and travel for 2 years before they come to learning? We try to give lessons in geography to boys who have never themselves traveled. If they had really traveled and had walked every inch of the way and had observed everything for themselves, they could begin to prove the facts and to build the background from their own personal experience. Unquote. Prashant Chandra Mahalanobis and Kiti Mohan Sen were agreed to join this Catholic school. But ultimately, the amazing idea of this Catholic school was not materialized. Tagore wrote his debate. I have proposed many times for Catholic school, but did not get sufficient support. I have the utmost respect for open path education. At the end, we can say Tagore has done many experiments in various fields of creation and work. There was no end to his experiments with education, but the bottom line of his all experiments is the endless journey towards full humanity. Tagore's motto, education for all and education for fullness. Namaskar.
Thank you, Professor Amanipal, for your words. We are enriched by your words. May I now request Sri Devdas Kundu to please offer the vote of thanks.
A very good morning to you all. Honorable Vice Chancellor Sir, Professor Binoy Kumar Soren, His Excellency Mr. Xu Wei, Consul General of People's Republic of China in Kolkata, respected Professor Monoranjan Mohanty, Monoranjan Pradhan, Principal Bhasha Bhavan, respected Professor Amal Pal, the Director Rabindra Bhavan, my colleague Professor Abhijit Banerjee, Head of the Department of Chinese Language and Culture, respected principals, head and faculty members of Visva-Bharati teaching departments, esteemed scholars from India and People's Republic of China, officers and other members of university staff, invitees, members of press and electronic media, dear students, ladies and gentlemen. It is my privilege to have been asked to propose a vote of thanks on this occasion. I, on behalf of the Department of Chinese Language and Culture, extend a very heartfelt gratitude to all the dignitaries to grace this occasion. I take this opportunity to convey our profuse gratitude and sincere thanks to our Honorable Vice Chancellor Sir, Professor Binoy Kumar Soren, for his esteemed presence amongst us and for gracing the inaugural ceremony. We are greatly encouraged by his encouraging words and guidance. I am extremely grateful to His Excellency Mr. Xu Wei, Consul General of the People's Republic of China in Kolkata, for his constant support, encouragement, and providing financial assistance for organizing this conference. I convey my gratitude and heartfelt thanks to Professor Manoranjan Pradhan for guiding and supporting us in our academic endeavor. I am also thankful to Professor Abhijit Banerjee for his untiring effort and enthusiasm towards organizing this event. I express my deep sense of appreciation for Ministry of External Affairs, Government of India, Indian Embassy in Beijing, and Consulate Office of India in Guangzhou for their constant support and in issuing visas to the esteemed Chinese scholars. I express my thanks to Registrar's Office, Finance Office, Accounts Office, Public Relations Office, and other offices of the university and administration for providing every kind of assistance. I am also grateful to the members of press and electronic media for their coverage of this conference. I also extend thanks to all the faculty and staff members of the Department of Chinese Language and Culture for their enormous cooperation. Special thanks go to all the students of Cheena Bhavan. Without their arduous effort, this international conference could not have been possible. Thank you all for your presence. Thank you.
So with this, we come to the end of the inaugural session of the conference. I request our delegates and guests to have a cup of tea. We have a 20 minutes break for this tea session, and we will start our first academic session at 10:50. We start our first academic session at 10:50. Thank you all.